Welcome to the Criterion Collection's special Laserdisc edition of The Killer. On this audio track, you will hear director John Woo and production executive Terrence Chang. John Woo.
This movie is dedicated to Martin Scorsese and in the memory of Jean-Pierre Melville. The two great masters, they influenced me a lot. The beginning of the city is to tell the story and the character. It could happen in any city. The first scene for the killer, he's sitting in the church like I usually did. I always liked to sit in the church when I was young. It looked so calm and peace. And that's the only place I can think about God and think about myself and faith. I always wondering and try to find out who is control the faith. Is by God or by me? And the killer sitting in the church, he is isolated with the outside world and also the soul. Even though he's a killer, he also have a good side in his heart. It's pure and try to use the candlelight to tell he's also have a good side. In the ancient time of China, there was 4 very famous assassins. They have a great story. The character of the killer and A Better Tomorrow, it all based on the ancient Chinese assassin story. I admire Martin Scorsese so much, and especially The Mean Streets. I really love that movie. I learned it from his powerful technique, and I also learned from his dramatic slow motion. Now, the way he uses the slow motion, especially it wasn't on the action, it's on the emotion. Sometimes he likes to use slow motion to capture some beautiful movement for the acting or to capture some expression from the actors. And it looks so beautiful and so dramatic. So I use it in my film. Quite a lot of it. In some of the acting, I also use the slow motion on the actors, not only on the action. And the action is from Sam Peckinpah's film. And also the camera movement. My camera movement also influenced by him. All the time I tried to remake the Melville's movie, The Samurai. In Hong Kong, it seems to be hard to do that. Also, the studio thing is now for the young generation, nobody know about Jean-Pierre Melville, and maybe for the Hong Kong young audience, they don't know much about the French film. So I've been trying very, very hard to try to work it out, but still have no chance to do it. So when I make The Killer, I use one of the scenes from The Samurai to transfer in my opening scene. In The Samurai, Alain Delon, he walked into the nightclub and met the singer. And then they have a kind of eye contact, and then he go into the manager room and kill the guy. After he killed the guy, he met the singer again. So I put this emotion into the opening scene of The Killer. So when Zhou Yunfan, he walked into the bar and met the singer, and they have a kind of eye contact. After Zhou Yunfan met the girl, and the girl changed his destiny. So when you see the scene, kick the table and flip the gun, it was inspired by the Salt Street movie. I usually like to put the element of the Chinese soft plays action, the musical rhythm and feeling into my action scene. So it make my gun battle scene looks different with the Western. The idea for this also came from Stanley Kubrick's Shining. When they just shot the elevator, opened it, and the blood came out elevator, and like a flood to the camera. And I also like to do the similar thing, as that the blood flood towards the lens, just like the girl when she wounded on her eye. What she saw is just like the blood come towards to her eyes, and it wasn't work very well because of the technical problem. But we still got a good image since he wounded her, and the killer feel guilty. All the way he tried to help her, tried to repay what he did. So he always watching her silently, her every move, and he just tried to do something for the girl. This fight scene, I was trying to ask Zhou Yunfan to do the real fight. I asked Zhou to hit the 2 bad guys for real, like a Western fight, not a martial arts fight. All I need is emotional expression, not a good fighter. But After the scene, when we saw the dailies, usually if you fight for real, but it will come out like fake. So I do some editing to do the fast cut. To do the fast cut make it go faster and also make it look more anger. So I usually shoot a fist fight or martial arts. Usually like to do the real fight. So my stunt guy, they are suffering. The reason I use Sarah Ye to play this role is the original idea for the character. Even though she's blind, she's still full of life and hope and also very optimistic. Not the kind of self-pity. Sarah Ye, she gave me the impression, since I know she's raised in Canada and she's grew up in Canada, she must be like a Western girl and thus have an open mind and carefree and full of energy. So that's why I like her to play the role. In the first beginning, we were so happy to have her in this role, but maybe she got some wrong information. Maybe she heard most of the actors come to work with me must be act very well or and try very hard to act. So she play a very traditional way and will wrong communicate. So the way her acting is sometimes a little overact. But she did try very hard. That's the way she was before. And so when he look at the picture and he realized before the girl get blind, she was so much full of life and beauty. So when he look at the picture, he feel more guilty. Looks like he ruined her life. So he feel more pain. Because the killer, he got his own principle. He only killed a bad guy and never harmed a good guy. That is his principle. Yeah, I used the same song as a bridge, trying to put the three characters together. They are all loneliness. They are all misunderstood by the people. In my theory is that the good people always have been misunderstood.
I just want to compliment on, Danny Lee, who played a cop, on his performance in The Killer. I think he played many, many cops before, but this is definitely one of his best performances in his career. I think because Chow Yun-fat is so charismatic, people tend to, put all the attention on Chow Yun-fat, but I think, it's not very fair. And Danny Lee did an excellent job in the film.
Danny Lee, he also have a different quality. He looks so real. Because when he was young, he always dreaming to be a cop. Somehow that he turned out to be an actor. So he liked to play a cop in a movie. It's a very different with Chow Yun-fat. Chow Yun-fat always give the look. It's very romantic and very emotional. Danny Lee is kind of a tough character. So it's very interesting to put them together. And both of them, they are all my hero.
All the weapons in this film were real. I mean, they were imported from London. And, the guy who rented us this weapons, he got to have a special license. Gun laws in Hong Kong are very strict. I mean, unlike here, nobody can buy a gun or even, get a license unless you belong to a gun club or something, and use the gun as a sport. But, there are a lot of guns floating around, used by the triads and the robbers and, so, which means there must be a lot of gun running going on in Hong Kong. I think John's film, in The Killer and Hard Boiled, I mean, they all reflect this part of the business. One of the difficulties in shooting in the streets of Hong Kong is, it's first of all, it's very difficult to get permits. Police department, they are very cooperative, but they have to. If anybody just comes up and complain about the shooting, then they have to stop us, and so it create a lot of nightmare. For instance, in the tram scene, we were only allowed 3 hours to shoot a scene. And I think this is one of the better scenes in the film. 3 hours to shoot that scene is just impossible. And the time to shoot it is around 10 p.m. in Causeway Bay, which is, the busiest part of Hong Kong. And so when it comes to the shot of Danny Lee holding out a gun and trying to shoot that bad guy, John suggested to him, why don't you use a prop gun, a plastic gun or whatever, and we do animation later on the fire. But Danny Lee, to his credit, he said, then the extras will not react as well. I mean, they are not really professional actors. So why don't I just use a real gun and shoot blank? Blank bullets are very, very loud. And so when he fired those shots, the people in the streets thought, this is a real robbery taking place in a tram, and they all lie down on the streets. It's really hilarious. And the police car came, and the big shots, the superintendents, they wanted to stop this, and the people complained, of course, and they wanted to stop this filming. And the scene was not done, at that point. And Danny Lee, who has a very good relationship with the police department, he talked the cops into letting them finish.
The statue of General Grant is representative of honor and loyalty. The interesting thing is that every policeman, every cop, when they come to the duty, they have to watch him first and then go to work. He was a famous general in the 2,000 years ago. When I shoot a movie or design anything, I didn't think about the result. And I also have never think about, I made a certain scene is to please the Western audience or the Chinese audience. All the time I just do whatever I feel. So, for example, try not to glorify the triad of mafia world. I really didn't intend to do that. When I make the gangster movie, just like making the Chinese sauce prey, I just feel like Chow Yun-fat holding the gun, like Dillon or David Chang, they holding the sword. So all I intend to glorify is the hero, the behavior of the hero, not the triad society. Well, this scene is also the tragedy for Chu Kong. He was a hero, but since his hand crippled, he couldn't use the gun anymore. So he's kind of faded glory. All he still got is a friend and a code of honor. So since he cannot do the killer anymore, so he's as the manager of the killer. Actually, I don't know a lot about the gun. I have never shot a gun, and I have never intended to kill any people. But I love to make movie about gun. Sometimes I try to use the gun to tell something. Yeah, it's easy to pick it up and hard to put it down. I admit the filmmaker, sometimes they have to concern about the moral standard. They have to concern about the moral for the society. But for me, I make the film as an artist, and I didn't intend to stand for the morals. I make this kind of movie just like to make a soft, savory film. It can say kind of fantasy, but also it's kind of my language. In the year of 60, I was so fascinated about the gangster film and Alain Delon's movie, and also so fascinated about Sam Peckinpah's film and all the westerns. It made me like to make a killer film.
In the film, the killer's apartment faces a church, whereas, the church and the apartment are hundreds of miles apart. So when we were shooting the scene of the killer playing his harmonica facing the church, it's really done near the church and not at his apartment.
It's usually happen in Hong Kong or anywhere. Usually some of the big shots, they have two faces. On the surface, they look like a good man, but on the other side, they do a lot of bad things. For every movie I made, I always like to do a classic or unforgettable scene. This scene, we shot the documentary. We shot the actual event 5 months before we start shooting, and then we will build the same set to do the real scene. We have shot a lot of footage, and for this scene, the editor having trouble to cut it. The editor was not used to cut the scene without a shot list or without a storyboard, and he got no idea how to cut the scene well. So I cut it by myself, and I used 3 weeks to cut the scene. And I tried to use the Dragon Ball race to symbolize the competition between the killer and the cop, like a sport. And also, I put myself as the killer. I only have one thinking: if I kill a guy, what should I do? The character like the killer, what would he do? So I play cool and calm and calculated. So it's a crowd place. No one will expect it for the hit. I wanted only to use the atmosphere from the crowd and also from the drum, because I have a strong feeling with the drum beat. And I try to show the killer is so calculated, and he just sit there and wait. He wait until the drum beat goes on to use the drum to cover the sound of the gunshot. Well, this scene we have shot it for 2 times. After the first day shooting, for some reason we stopped shooting for 2 months, and then after 2 months, then we go back to the bridge and do the rest. I wasn't particular like the hospital. Now, for the Hot Boy, I use the hospital. In the hospital, you can see the life and death and the happy and the sorrow. So I just wanted to use the hospital as a microcosm for the society, like a microcosm for the big country. So that's why I use the hospital for Hot Boy. In here is in a hospital scene. Killer and the cop, they point a gun aimed at each other. In the beginning, they're against each other. So when the cop saw the killer, he saved the little girl's life, make him feel this killer have a heart. It's different. He's different with the others. And also start their friendship from that point. The cop and the killer, they appreciate each other because they have something in common. They both have the code of honor and also live for the justice, even though not in the same way.
That close-up of Chow Yun-fat alone in his apartment after he found out that he was betrayed by his good friend Sidney, I think it's really very, very, very good. I think John's shots are very complicated. I mean, he would very often have, 3 cameras moving at the same time. I mean, even in Hong Kong, I mean, when we were shooting the killer, he would often have 3 cameras doing action scenes and non-action scenes as well.
Oh, I love this scene very, very much. This is a scene I can combine with a lot of different elements, with drama, emotion, and action, and romance all put together and make it work very well. So that's why I love this scene very much. When the scene starts, here's a test for the friendship. The cop had a job to do too, and he just lost his partner. He has a question about the friendship with the killer until Jenny tried to kill him without really wanting to kill him. The cop see how great the love is, so he wanted to help him. So as I said, this is the scene I combine with romance, love, action, and emotion all together. Well, the Hong Kong stuntman safety is not important to their tradition. They just don't care about the dangerous. They just do it. And they like to take a challenge. And the most dangerous game, they feel more exciting and they feel more interested to do it. So now you can see the stuntman can jump up from the second story or the second floor or the third floor without any protection on the ground. Just jump down and hit the ground. The Hong Kong stuntmen, they have a very well training. All of the stunt guys, they used to play kung fu or martial arts very well, and also have a very good tradition. They all like the challenge with the death. And I was the first one to use a stunt guy shooting the gun battle scene, which they haven't did before. Before me, all they do was only the kung fu action or karate or some incredible stunt work. And I was the first one to bring the Western gun battle stunt technique combined with the Chinese stunt work together, make it more look like a dancing scene or make it more spectacular. This scene, including the exterior and interior, I took 28 days. It's a different location. It was a different set, and it did take a long time to shoot the scene. Because everything is a new experiment. Everything was the new experience for the stunt group, for the special effect group, and also for the camera group. Everybody have a hard time, especially for the stunt group. There are a lot of script explosion or the dynamic explosion, and also a lot of dangerous shot, which is so new to them. But the Hong Kong stuntmen, they have very high spirit. This scene came from the Western. When I shoot the scene, they're talking. I use the same angle. And I also did a little experiment for the shooting. This scene, I intend to cross the camera line. So you can see that Chow Yun-fat and Daddy Lee, they are the same angle, the same position. It's a very simple idea, just they are in the same situation and they got the same feeling and they got same position. Usually when you shoot 2 characters, they talking each other. For example, Chow Yun-fat, for his eye line, he looking to the camera right. So, and then you revert to shoot Danny Lee and his eye lines will be looking at the left. So the position will be a little change and you can cross the line. There's a camera line there. So, but this scene I want to make it, they looking the same way, looks like they're looking at the mirror, means he looking himself. When you're shooting 2 characters, they talking each other. In order to make these 2 characters appear to be speaking to each other, so you keep the camera on the same size. It's kind of a cinematic grammar. Usually in my film, if the hero, he had to sacrifice himself for some ideas, I have to increase the violence to express or to pinpoint the sacrifice. Usually my kind of hero will sacrifice for justice or for life, for friendship. Suffering on like a Chinese Asian hero. Chow Yun-fat had a very special quality as an actor. His acting skills so natural and so true from his heart. And also, I like his personality and I also like his real character. What I know about him is he like to help people. He like to help his friend. He like to help the children who need help. So for me, he's a real Chinese knight to me. He's a modern knight to me. And he's my kind of hero. He got an image, a real Chinese hero. And we also have a lot of things in common. We have the same feeling about the world, the relationship with the people, and we have the same idea about it in the movie. Usually when we work together, we always put our input, put our real feeling into the character. So what I mean is that when you see Chow Yun-fat, you will see me. I always like to put myself into his character. I've never take violence seriously. In my film, all I'm concerned is that when I'm making violence scene, it got to be based on the emotion, not based on how to please the audience or try to make someone happy. Sometimes I just try to use the violence to send some message, because when I was a child, I've seen so much violence. So many people get killed, especially in the year 1967. There was 2 big riots in Hong Kong. There's a lot of people get killed in front of our door. So actually, I hate violence. I'm a real peace lover, and I hate war. I hate to see the people killing each other. Sometimes I want to throw the violence to send a message. The violence got to be stopped. If you cannot stop, so we need some kind of hero to stop it. I think usually you can see from my film, I like to glorify some kind of a violent action. It all because of the character. When a hero, he does something or he killing for the friendship or for the other people, the hero sacrifices his life for honor, for chivalry, and sometimes for sympathy. It's a very Chinese traditional. Basically, I feel more freedom to working in Hong Kong. Mostly me and my partner, Terrence, produce our own film. We can do whatever we want, we can do whatever we feel. And not like in the States, there's too many politics and games and that make me so frustrated. In Hong Kong, we are always full of energy and life. I don't need to care about any problem, but that's only one thing I feel upset about is the Hong Kong crew is not professional enough. Even though they have a high energy for work, most of the crew, they was not educated from a film school, not like in the States. In the States, every crew, they are so professional and they all have the passion about the movie. The Hong Kong crew, most of the crew, they only come to work for the money, not for the idea. So I feel like when I was working in Hong Kong, it was very, very hard and difficult because I need to teach everyone how to do the scene, and I also, sometimes just like a teacher to teach a student how to do the special effect, how to do the art design. I need to care about everything. When I made The Killer, during the whole period of the shooting, there was none of them know what I really want. They cannot figure out what's the movie about, what on my style. After I finished the whole movie, when I do the mixing, when the producer watched the whole movie, he said, "Oh, the movie is so romantic." At the first beginning, nobody know what's the movie about. But in the States, I feel very happy is that because the whole crew, they're so professional and everything works very well. So there's a big difference. Well, all my life is dreaming to work with a professional to make the work more easier. And usually I like to share with the whole crew, But I still miss working in Hong Kong. Some of the crew is really great. The Virgin Mary, to me, she represents peace and love, the truth and the beauty and the love from God. And also the coincidence that so when the movie is shown right after the Tiananmen rescue, the Statue of Liberty had been crushed by the tank. It's the same feeling as like that, like the Virgin Mary had blown up and make me feel more sad. So that's why I used a church for the gun battle scene. I know it might be cause some kind of offense to the religion society, but I think this is a good way to say the evil from the people, the war between the people, they usually turn the heaven to hell. Yeah, a lot of people wonder why I use the church for the gun battle scene, and especially for the final fight. Well, in the first beginning, the killer sitting in the church, I wanted to say is God is welcome, no matter good guy and bad guy. He all welcome come to the church. When a gun battle in the church, I just try to use it to say the war in between the people and the evil, they always turn heaven to hell. Just like apocalypse now, it means the people ruined all the beauty, the truth, and the loveliness, and the holiness. Since I'm a Christian, I always take the Christian as the Holy Spirit, as a friend. So I like to use the Christian in my film. This actor, they did the most stunt work by themselves, especially Danny Lee. He didn't got any protection in his body. He only wear a t-shirt. In the old time, he was a very popular action star. So even though come to this age, he's still doing very good. So you see the Danny Lee and Joey Fat, they walk in slow motion, just like the Wild Bunch. The final scene, Graham Holden and the sixth guy, they walk to the camera. But mine was in slow motion, they're not. The idea came from that. Very heroic. Yeah. Sometimes I would like to use the freeze frame to try to remain a good moment for the acting or for some kind of emotion. And it also learned from Truffaut's movies, Julian Dream. And he was the first one who used freeze frame on the film, on the emotional touch. There's a scene in the gym model, and she turned and looked at Oscar winner, and he freeze it 3 times. Turn and look, and smile. And it was unforgettable technique to make the scene very romantic. So I'll never forget, and I try to use in my movie. So you can see, even though I have learned movie by myself, I also learned the film theory from all the masters. But usually I don't care about the theory, and I don't care about the traditional way of making film. And usually I'll do whatever I want, and I do whatever I feel. So when I do the editing, suddenly I feel this moment or this scene, I would like to use the dissolve in an emotional way. I've heard that people said the Bible also got more violence. I didn't see any conflict on me, even though I'm a pure Christian. I hate evil. I hate all the evil thing in the world. I hate the dictatorship. I hated to see the people being killed in the war. So it caused me to always to find a stronger force to beat down the evil. That's why I like to make the action movie. I try to through the action, through my hero, to send a message. Is the right thing always win. Johnny Wayne killed his own man. So now the society, now the people, they don't care about the honor, they don't care about the loyalty, they don't care about anything. Just do whatever they want. I want to make it like the good against the evil. So I intend to make the gun battle scene, make it big, like a war going on. Everything has been damaged and destroyed, including the truth has been destroyed too. The other reason I use the church is I try to use the church represent the faith for human beings, represent a feeling of destiny. And the killer, he got shot, he got blind. This is the result for the killer. Even though he have a good heart, but he still cannot avoid the fate. So he lost everything. And even though he's life, but what he got is love. So when we are shooting that scene, Zhou Yunfei, he got a suggestion. He said when he and Jenny crawled together and they met, they touched each other and they holding hand very tight and then died. I didn't agree. I said, how about make it more tragic? Let both of them, they crawl together and pass and miss each other. It will make more tragedy and make more like they be tricked by fate. So that's why I like to do they miss each other. And Zhou Yunfei was agreed, and so make the scene more sad and more dramatic. Well, it's so sad to lose a friend. The Hong Kong audience, they doesn't like 2 things. One is Zhou Yunfei's death. Second is when Zhou Yunfei died, he make the Hong Kong people feel the justice come to the end is death. So make them feel it's no meaning. It doesn't worth it and hopeless. So they don't want him to die in the end. They always want the good guy, the hero never die. They connect with the Tiananmen event. A lot of students have been killed. They just want the spirit never die. They want the student, the people can win. They feel so sad to see the tank crash on a student. So that's why they don't want to watch again. They only want to watch one time. At that particular moment, the Hong Kong people, they want the justice will win, not lose. And they connect with the cop event. Because the Hong Kong audience, they're very involved in my movie. And also, they don't want the cop become a criminal. Because what he did is everybody want to do it. And they felt the bad guy deserved to die. But by the law, he's the criminal. That made the audience feel more upset. So the cop did the last favor for the killer. He killed the bad guy for him. But by the law, he turned out to become a criminal. He also tricked by fate. All he have got is only a memory for a good friend. So that's why at the end, I put Zhou Yunfei as the end shot. The original idea for the ending is after the killing, Jenny go to the airport alone, try to get aboard. When she's just waiting for help, and the lady suddenly appear, bring the money, and go with her to the United States and try to help her to kill the eyes. It's a more like a happy ending. But since I have overscheduled too much, and also Jenny didn't give me enough days, so I canceled the original ending. What we can do is put Zhou Yunfei's shot as the end shot, and it also worked very well. And also got the other meaning is what we got here is an unforgettable friendship.